Hi everyone, this is Andrew Tyler. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm looking at this Lenovo Yoga 7 with the Ryzen 5, and this computer has had a bit of a fall, and what's happened is that the hinge has kind of broken a little bit, and this is preventing the power button from being able to be pressed. I can kind of tell that the internals are in okay condition, because if I put the charge cable in, you can see that the light is turning on, so that part of it itself is not too bad. I think it is probably just the power button itself. So what I'm going to do is to basically dismantle this and then see if we can get to the hinge and see if we can pop that power button back into place. So basically what I'm going to do is to use a Torx screwdriver. So I'll leave a link to my toolkit in the description, but basically it's a 6-sided screwdriver which is commonly used on these type of electronics. So basically I'm going to take off all of the screws. Okay, so these screws are all the same length, and then basically what we're going to do is to pull this bottom case off. I've got a bit of leverage here. Basically I'm going to use my pry tool to pull the rest of this off. So I'll remove that bottom case. We've got the internals of this computer. So this is a pretty new laptop. It's a shame it's suffered this damage so far. So this hinge looks pretty good condition at the moment. It's really this one which is a bit damaged. What I'm going to do is just try the pliers a little bit. So I'm going to disconnect I'm just going to disconnect the battery. I'm just going to disconnect the battery so I don't cause any damage to the computer. Just cycle the power bit, and then I'm just going to use my pliers and see if I can bend this a little bit better without doing too much damage to this. Now my pliers won't really reach that far. I could use stronger pliers to do this. What I might do is just try and press this down with the handle so it's a little bit more in place. So I think that's like marginally better. I think in order to do this properly I would have to disconnect the entire hinge assembly here and then bend this back into shape, which I could do. But it's one of those things, this damage now is now just cosmetic. This power button is working. You can hear it engaging now, or it wasn't before. So it really was just a few millimeters away from fixing this properly. So what I'm going to try to do is just pull out this hinge part just so that we can get a little bit more kind of leverage here. So I'm just going to move this sticker out of the way and move this cabling, and I'll just unscrew the hinge part here. So I'm just using a normal Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, so now I'm going to remove this side as well. We have this cable here, and then we have the hinge part here. So I'm not going to remove all of the cables entirely. I'm just going to take this out so that I can actually get to the bottom case. Just going to unhook that. So I think if you look at this from here, you can see that this side is really bent, and it's literally just the case. It's not really the actual, none of the boards are actually bent. So I am going to use my pliers to pull this back into place. Just try and be as gentle as possible, not to apply too much force. So ding up the really nice. So this is a lot easier to do once we remove the hinge. So this is not really straight, but it's looking better already. I'm going to keep going. Okay, it's looking better. So I think that's pretty close. So I'm just going to do one more move. Okay, so let's put the cabling back and see how this looks. So basically I'm going to hook these back in to the hinge part here. So all we have to do is to kind of work this in from the edge here. We push that down there, and then we've got these cables there and there. So basically I just tend to put that down fully like that, and then we'll put the Phillips heads back in. Good. So even though I've got the hinge in here, I can hear the click of that power button. This is not fully straight, but I suspect we'll never get that fully straight without doing a bit more work on that, but I think that's good enough. Here we're just going to thread the display cabling back in so it's nice and tucked away, so when we put the bottom case back on. Just got to be very careful not to damage any of these relatively delicate cables. Okay, that's nice and secure. Here as well. Okay, so once that's on, we're going to put our bottom case back on. So last thing to remember before we pop the bottom case back on is to reconnect the battery completely. Just going to push this in. And then all we need to do is to pop on the bottom case. So just make sure the alignment is there with the hinge. And then all of the screws are the same length, so we're just going to pop those back in with the Torx screwdriver. Hinge has actually been bent. I've kind of marked it a little bit there with the pliers, but overall it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did earlier. I know it's not the best job in the world, but the most important thing is that we're able to turn the computer on. So let's just see if that's working. That keyboard's lighting up. And then we have the BitLocker recovery. So that's working reliably. It looks okay from the front, more noticeable from the back, but the most important thing is that we have functionality. So anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.